Hi, I'm Kara.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome back to Crunchy Cozy Games.
Hello.
Today, we have a very fun video for you where we're going to talk about kind of a series of games.
Yeah, the AEG kind of cozy puzzler games.
Yeah, or Flatout Games.
Yeah, Flatout Games published by AEG.
Yeah.
So there's a series of 4 so far. They have one that I think is going to be kickstarted, delivered sometime this year.
Mm-hmm.
But the 4 that we're talking about in this video are Calico, Cascadia, Verdant, and Fit to Print.
Yeah.
So we've been asked about, some of our favorite puzzle games, some of our favorite kind of cozy games, and I think all 4 of those fit that bill pretty well.
Absolutely.
So today we're going to take a look at kind of telling you a little bit about each game, how well we would rank them against one another according to their theme, according to how exciting they are, and then just overall how fun the game is to play.
Yeah, and so I think we can get started with, let's go in order of when they came out.
That makes sense.
You just listed them in. So we'll start with Calico.
Perfect.
So Calico is a game all about cats and quilts. You are placing hex tiles onto a board that has kind of a cutout pattern with spaces available. You have 3 objective tiles that you place on the board that kind of tell you what patterns you need to get using the 6 colors and the 6 thread patterns that are available. There's also bonuses that you can get by adding buttons, by getting groups of colors. You can attract cats to your quilt by putting together specific patterns in specific formations based on what that cat prefers. And all of this is kind of set up in the game, or in the game setup.
Right.
You have a store of 3 tiles, and you take, is it 2 on each? You take 1 on each turn, and then you play 1 and then take a tile to refresh.
Right.
So that's the gameplay essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one then. So Cascadia. Cascadia is, honestly, it's a little bit more abstract of a theme. Because
Absolutely.
in this one, you're sort of building out your own tableau. Each turn, you're going to take a tile, and then you're also going to take a wildlife token. There's 6 different terrain types. Most of the tiles have 2 terrains on them. There's a couple of them that only have a single one, but you also get a bonus for playing a matching animal that's printed on that tile. Every turn, when you get your tile and your wildlife token, you're going to play the tile, and then you have to play the wildlife token on one of your tiles that's already available in the game. You start with 3 tiles all put together. So you've got some extra space. You've got a little bit of wiggle room in this one. I really enjoy this one because it's very free form. A lot of the games that we talk about have like a set grid, and this one you can build out however you like. So yeah, that's Cascadia.
Yeah. Verdant is, less freeform than Cascadia, but more freeform than Calico. It is a grid. You're building a tableau of, it's 3 tall and 5 across.
Right.
And you can set that up kind of as you go. But once you hit 3 up and down and 5 across, you're stuck with that layout and have to fill in the rest as you go.
Right.
You're alternating rooms and plants. The rooms have different light types, full sun, partial sun, and shade. And you're trying to match the plants that like those types of light to the correct location between the rooms. And you do that by pulling from the store of 4 rooms and 4 plants. Right. There's also tokens in the middle. You're adding accessories to your rooms as well. There's bonuses for matching colors on those, or for getting a variety of them throughout your entire tableau. And the main point of the game is that you're trying to maximize your plant growth and collect verdancy there's a certain level that each one has to reach in order to get a pot on it that has a bonus. And so the game ends when everybody has a completed tableau of 15 cards,
right,
and you score.
Yeah. Very cute. It's kind of the definition of a cozy game.
It is. It's super, collecting, like being a houseplant person is just I mean, that's very cozy.
All right, so the last one is probably the most different of the four, and that is fit to print. So in fit to print, you are an animal newspaper printer, and you are basically putting together the woodland newspaper. The way this one is done is quite different from all three of these in that it's more of a polyomino game, but it's one that all players are playing at the same time. There is a puzzle mode to this game, but the actual rules as it's printed, the main one is that everybody plays at the same time under a time limit. At the beginning of the round, you put all of the tiles in the center and you flip them upside down. And then every player has their time that starts, and you start fishing them out of the center of the table, bringing them back to your desk, flipping them over, and then deciding whether or not you want to keep them. If you decide to keep them, they go on your desk. And if you decide not to keep it, you have to put it face up back in the center of the table. So it's this frantic, everybody is reaching for different tiles that they think is going to fit. And then once you feel like you've got all the tiles that you're going to need to fill your newspaper, then you move on to the layout phase. There, it's even crazier because you're taking all these stories and you're trying to place them somewhere in your newspaper, making sure their alignment is correct, making sure that you've got two stories of the same type that don't touch. There's 3 different types. You can't have ads that also touch one another.
There's photos.
There's also photos that you get bonus points if they are of a matching type in a story. And so there's lots of things to think about once you have your tiles. It's frantic, it's very silly, but it is a ton of fun.
I really love the theming on this one where it's the names of the newspapers are just so darling.
Yeah, well, and all of them have like adorable little headlines. Like there's a whole Chickies that's a band that, I mean, they go through a whole thing. There's multiple stories about them.
Oh, it's so fun.
But it's very silly. Okay, so that's a description of all 4 of the games. So let's first talk about theming.
Yeah.
If you had to arrange these in order of like how well you think they stick to their theme and how much they are thematic, what would your order be, with the most thematic being over here and the least thematic being down by me?
Ooh, that's tough. I actually think that I would maybe put Verdant at the top of that.
Okay.
And then I think maybe Cascadia, and then Fit to Print, and then Calico.
See, I think I would actually say that Calico fits its theme a little bit better.
You think?
I do. I mean, I think that is, I mean, it is cats and quilts, and that's
true.
Very much
That's
what the
true.
game is. And then I think I would switch these two as well.
Okay.
Because again, Cascadia is more abstract.
It is. That's true.
The theme is nice, but you could make this just about anything.
That's true.
You could also make this desert animals, or you could make this your favorite space.
Yep.
And the game
Sure
would
could.
play the same and be just as enjoyable. Whereas
That's true.
I think
These really rely on the theme to...
right.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a
you
good
know,
point.
I feel like Verdant is a great one because it is sort of like room and plant. But I almost think I would switch these two.
You would switch these two?
Mm-hmm.
I could get behind that. I mean, I definitely think that the concept of like making the perfect blanket for a cat to sit on, I think is so funny because cats can be very picky about where they lay down.
Oh,
and so
absolutely.
So the idea that they need a very specific blanket and you need to make that blanket, I think is just so funny. Yeah, well, and then, you know, when you think about it, I guess Verdant, the plants being like between the rooms is like, are they in the room? Are they between the room?
Right.
Like the tableau, how does that really work with like what the theme is trying to accomplish?
Right. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that thematically, I just enjoy this.
Sure.
I mean, I think the thing that's hard about Fit to Print thematically is, you know, that's a very unrealistic theme.
Yeah, it's the most fictional.
It is. But I think that is super fun.
It is. It's a very creative way to do that. And I think it's a fun way to have a newspaper-based game.
Yes, agreed.
Because I think otherwise it's kind of a dry...
Yeah, I think if it wasn't anthropomorphic animals, it would be incredibly dry,
Yeah.
and it would probably be a lot more stressful. Whereas this, when you don't get your newspaper the exact way that you want it,
Right.
you're just like, whoa, what a bunch of silly foxes, though.
It's true. Well, and I also think, when we have played this game, we've played it on the easiest mode.
Right.
Because all of the things that you talked about have to be accomplished within a single time limit. Like
Right.
you have 5 minutes to do everything.
Right,
Like
and that's the easy mode.
To pick your tiles and to lay all of your tiles. And
Right.
so keeping that spatial awareness of how many tiles you can have to fill that space well and not go over, because you get negative points for having a bunch of leftover.
Yep.
I mean, it's challenging, and I would love to play it on the higher difficulties where we have less time, but also I kind of dread playing it on the higher difficulties. Because it's a trip at 5 minutes. I can't imagine it at less.
Okay, so I think this is a good order for theme.
Yeah.
Let's now talk about just the overall excitement of the game.
I think, based on what we just talked about, I think absolutely Fit to Print is at the top of this one.
Sure.
Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? That one's a lock.
I think my instinct is to put Cascadia next, and then Verdant, and then Calico.
Great. Yeah, I think I'm in alignment with you. I think just in terms of how exciting it is to play, Fit to Print is just it goes straight to 11 and it never comes down because you're frantically moving everything about.
It's true.
Cascadia, you've got a little bit more wiggle room, so I think that keeps it exciting when somebody takes the tile or the wildlife icon that you want. You're kind of thinking in between your turn of okay, that's fine, I can still do this, I could maybe maximize this way.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that the key here is that it's still easy to be really engaged and to be strategizing for your own play in between turns, because there are so many things that you can do.
Right.
Whereas...
And then Verdant, I think it starts to get a little bit more stressful if you're really watching that store and you're hoping that nobody takes the perfect plant that's going to fit with the 2 rooms that you just laid out.
Yes.
But again, you've got a little bit more flexibility here because you can always say okay, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about that icon being taken because I can maybe shift my tableau a little bit this way.
This one, Verdant gets way more stressful as you get further into the game and you have less options of where to put stuff, and you really are looking for that perfect plant.
Right.
And so it's a lot more kind of lackadaisical at the beginning.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
And everyone's just super chill, picking out their plants. Oh, I'll put it here. Oh, you took that one. That's okay. I'll get the next one. But then towards the end, it gets kind of cutthroat.
Starts getting full, and you're just don't you dare take that orange room. That's the last one I'm missing.
Right. Well, and I think that's where, the green thumbs that you have that allow you to kind of not take a token from the middle that's not aligned with one of the cards.
Right.
Those come in clutch kind of there at the end, but I think that they're really clever in the design of this game because you are limited in how many of those you're allowed to stockpile,
right? And
so you can't just keep them all till the end.
Another interesting aspect about Verdant that we haven't talked about is in this story you're taking a token and either a room or a plant,
right?
And so that's kind of nice because really you've got 8 options.
That's true.
And so you might be able to look at other people's hands or their tableaus and realize oh, okay, they're probably going to take a room this time. So I have less to worry about them taking my plant.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then there's Calico. So, all right.
I know that you don't like Calico.
Here's the basic excitement level for Calico. You start and you're like, oh, this is great. I'm building a quilt. Oh, my cats are so cute. Oh, this is really fun. Oh, I didn't get the piece that I wanted, but that's okay. There's this one that I can kind of fit it in. It's not going to hit me. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, no. What have I done? You took the tile I wanted. You monster. Oh, no. This is over. I can't believe you. I want to burn it all. That's how Calico always goes for me anyway.
Sure. I mean, that sounds like a really intense experience.
But this one, you are so locked into your puzzle.
It's true. I think that it has the most restrictive, even though this has a grid. This one, the hex grid or the hex board is the most restrictive.
Well, and I think one of the biggest things that always makes me mad about this one is because the pattern around your board comes into play.
It does.
There are definitely games that we have played where somebody has just gotten super lucky with all the tiles that have been pulled, and they just happen to go really well with their outside perimeter, and another player is just sitting there going, oh no, what have I done?
I also think we have a problem in that we try to maximize.
If there are points, Kara, I would like them.
Exactly. But, we get super stressed by not being able to fill out every objective. And I think one thing that makes Calico extra stressful is that the places where your objective tiles go are set.
Right.
The objectives themselves are not set. And so
Right.
there's a variety of those that you can get. But there are a few places where those cross.
Right.
And so you have to find, if you want to get all of the points available for multiple objectives, you have to have
The perfect tile.
piece.
Right.
And, you might find that at the beginning and not know it and regret it for the rest of the game.
Right. So I think, overall, as far as excitement level for it, it's fit to print, it's Cascadia, it's Verdant, and then it's just it can be.
Oh, but I love Calico.
It's adorable. I gave it a high award for the theme. Okay. So
So now let's talk about just how they are as an overall game.
Game.
So taking into account theme, taking into account excitement, and now also taking into account gameplay and how well designed we think it is, how balanced, how whatever. They're all essentially a tile laying. Well, I guess card laying, but.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I agree.
They're all similar in some ways.
So what is your overall rank? What's your gut feeling tell you?
My overall ranking, I think Verdant is my favorite. And then I actually think I would go fit to print Calico Cascadia.
Wow. We don't often say this on our channel, but you're 100% wrong.
What? What's your ranking?
Okay, so Cascadia at the bottom, that's the one you enjoy the least.
I love Cascadia.
Genuinely hurt by this.
I love Cascadia, but when we place all four of these head to head with nothing, no other factors, this is the order that I like them. I love Cascadia. I love all of these games.
So
this is the one that we actually end up playing Cascadia more. So clearly that's going to be your top.
I think the correct ranking for them, I don't think you're too far off. I just think it's really like this.
Okay.
Because I think Cascadia is probably the best overall game. It's the
Okay.
most abstract. The theme doesn't really matter for it.
Right.
But I think it's the most enjoyable. I think it is the game that is, for people that don't play a lot of puzzly games, it's probably the best one to start them with.
Sure.
And the reason behind that is because you're never stuck in your puzzle.
That's true.
You can maximize, but even if you can't score the animals, you can score the terrain. So you can just make sure that you've got the most grasslands, or you can make sure you've got the most mountains, as opposed to any of these three where you're going to be stuck by scoring and sizing.
Yeah.
I think next then there's Verdant, which it's a little bit more restrictive, but like we talked about, you've got some flexibility. The store's a little bigger, so you can change that.
Right.
And then Fit to Print, which I just have a blast playing. I think it's super fun, but the scoring is incredibly complex.
It is super complex because there's also special objectives.
Right.
And then there's also special actions or powers or whatever that the news person that you choose, the character that you choose, comes with a special bonus.
Yeah.
And so there is a lot going on in this game. It is probably the most complicated of
And
all of
I
them.
love the crunch of Fit to Print because
Yeah.
it is this silly, frantic game where everybody's doing this, and then one player goes bankrupt at the end of the game. But
Yeah.
I think that's part of the fun of it, is that you can't take it too seriously, but then like if you do sit down and try to maximize everything, like that is in it for you too.
It's true. Well, and the grid changes each round. You're playing it over 3 weekend days. So like your
Right.
Friday grid is the smallest, your Saturday grid is middle, and then your Sunday
is the
grid
big
is like the
paper.
big paper.
Just like newspapers used to be.
Well, and I think, you know,
Oh, I'm being told that they still make newspapers. Weird.
well, I think that the size difference between Saturday and Sunday always takes me by surprise.
Right.
In how many more tiles you need to take. I think I always end up with a shortfall
Right.
of tiles available that I've chosen. It's a very fun game.
It is, and all of these games are great fun.
Yes.
Most of these games are great fun, because then there's Calico,
Why you
which
gotta hate on Calico?
I love it at the start. I love it until about halfway through when I'm just like, oh no, oh, this is going to go poorly.
Sure.
And I will say that we've played a lot of these games, and I have won this game a few times. Just let the record show that. But I feel like this one really comes down to whether or not you get the right tile.
Yeah.
And it really is just about luck, and because there's no way to reset the store too.
Yeah, that's true.
It really makes that kind of just it always feels defeating. Nobody ever finishes this game and is like, yes, I did everything.
That is
Everybody
something,
finishes the game and goes,
You know, thinking about how similar Calico is to both Verdant and Cascadia in that, you know, like store setup.
Right.
I think that the ability to sweep and reset or pay some kind of resource that you're collecting in order to reset is a really smart addition to these games, because if it didn't have those, you would have that same frustration that you have in Calico.
Right.
It was, I don't know if they made that decision from feedback that they got on Calico.
Could be.
But it was definitely smart, and it definitely helps these games.
I agree. So yeah, that is our overall ranking of the Flatout puzzly cozy games published by AEG. Have you played any of these games before? If so, which one's your favorite? Do you think I'm right, or
do you think I'm right?
No one thinks that, Kara. What are some of your favorite cozy puzzle games? Which ones should we try out next?
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comments, and if you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe so that you can hear about the next game or the next video that we do.
Thanks so much. I've been Adam.
And I'm Kara.
Thanks for stopping by.